Hey, sixth grade, this is Miss Smallwood. So nice to be able to connect with you this way, even as we are all at home. Today, Wednesday, March 18th, for your reading, you're going to be reading a family favorite story of the Smallwoods. It's called The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. You're going to be reading an excerpt called The Open Road. In this excerpt, Toad talks Rat and Mole into accompanying him on a pleasure trip in his newly outfitted canary-colored cart. But he finds out the gypsy life is not all it's cracked up to be when he ends up getting into an accident. His friends are along for the ride and hilarity ensues. Or does it? As you guys read, I'd like you to think about one thing we've talked about a lot in class, which is mood. I wonder what you think is the mood of the story. And not just what you think the mood of the story is, but why you think that. What does the author do to create an atmosphere and how the characters relate to each other? What details do they give that sets a mood that helps you understand what the characters are feeling and if this is a scary story or a jovial story or something else entirely? I'd love to hear what you think. I'm also going to pop into the comments with a couple of links to some videos. This has been made into a couple of different musicals. There is a musical version with some really creepy animation of this song, The Open Road. And then there's our family's favorite song, which is called Messing Around in Cars and actually relates to this scene. So I'm going to send you guys those since you have lots of time. If you're interested, you can look at those. Our grammar lesson today is about adjectives. Adjectives are modifiers. Modifying means changing or adding to or increasing somehow. And so what a modifier does, and we're going to talk about a few modifiers in this unit, a modifier changes, adds to, explains something else. An adjective is a modifier. It changes, increases, adds to a noun. A noun is, of course, a person, place, or thing. So in your lesson today, you're going to be looking at different words, adjectives, that modify, that explain, that expand, that help make sense of nouns in a sentence. I think that you're going to do really well at this because we've done some work, Ken and Barbie paper, on adjectives before, and we won't be doing anything like that again. But I want to be sure to call your attention to the part of your work where you're going to be needing to diagram sentences because I know that that's not easy. I don't want you to get all hung up on which part is which part. I just want you to sort of, if you can, take it step by step. And the best way to approach this is to look at each word and think about what is this word's job in the sentence? What is it doing? So if you look at your guided practice question, I think that you guys are going to do great on those first four. All they're asking you to do there on insects are fascinating and queen ants are blank, then worker ants. You're having to look at which is the right adjective and what word in the sentence, what noun is the adjective modifying. So I want you to draw me some arrows and underline. But when you get to question 5, you're actually going to have to look at the sentence and then, and make sure you can see that, they want you to sort of take it apart, diagramming it, and showing which part is which, and then which word in all of those parts is the adjective. So if we take this sentence, Dad bought Mom gold jewelry. First of all, good job, Dad. And then second of all, we want to think about what role each of these words is playing in a sentence. So dad is the actor. He is the person doing the work in this sentence. And so because of that, we call that the subject. Dad is the subject of this sentence. And after the subject, we usually expect to see the verb. That's what the subject does, the action of the sentence. And in this case, that's true. Dad bought, the verb. Dad bought Mom gold jewelry. So we've got our subject. We know who's doing the action. We've got our verb. We know what the action is. And now we've got these other words to make sense of. Now, it can be a little tricky thinking about a direct object because it seems like Dad bought Mom, right? Mom is directly what the sentence is about. But actually, if we took Mom out entirely, this could still be a sentence that makes sense. Dad bought gold jewelry. If we do it the other way, it doesn't work quite as well, because what the sentence is really telling us is this: Dad bought, making sure you can still see, jewelry. If you break it down to its simplest parts, we have Dad bought jewelry, right? Those are the main ideas in the sentence. We have our subject, Dad, our verb, bought, and our direct object, jewelry. Mom is actually the indirect object, and she is telling us about who he bought it for. Who did he buy it for? Well, he bought it for Mom. And then we have this other word we still have to make sense of, and that is, guess what? Yes, our adjective. Gold tells us about jewelry. It is the adjective describing, expanding, explaining, modifying the noun jewelry in this sentence. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have questions as you go along, that's great. You're supposed to have questions. So I'll be available from 9 to noon on email. You can check in there. Your parents should also have a copy of this lesson in the teacher version, so you'll be able to check your work with that. Or I can help you give you answers to any of the ones you have a question about. If you get to a part that you don't understand, circle it, and then we can come back to it either in an email discussion, or we might do a Zoom call all together once we get through a few lessons. Hope you're hanging in there. Talk to you soon.